Hello, this is Cheryl, and I'm so grateful you're joining me today. Trust that this safe and loving space is exactly where you are meant to be, to ignite your higher self and empower you in this very moment in time. There are no coincidences, so trust the nudges that call to you. As I open, channel, and share today's light filled conversation, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. We are all working to uncover the truths that will serve us on our unique journeys. Each new day brings discovery, and this truth is always empowering, illuminating, and available to us. Now is your moment to deepen your spiritual connection. If it's light, it's right. Hello, and welcome to another episode of If It's Light, It's Right. Today, I'm hoping marks a new day for you, or a new thought process, or some new support for you, maybe in your a difficult patch that you're in your journey right now. Today, I loosely label it spiritual therapy. It's spiritual. It's meant to help us, and I'm going to show it to you in terms of affirmations. That's really going to be the main idea of today's episode. And I'm going to talk about the foundations of our path and establish that deeply, and talk a little bit about the definition of an affirmation, and give your heart some reminders of our journey before we begin building them. Building some affirmations. And affirmations, again, are a lighted piece of our journey. So please open to embrace whatever speaks to you in terms of affirmations. And again, I'm going to go through some examples. And then my share, I hope you stay tuned for the share. The share, as I finished, it was during a reading, and it is a share that I left my work saying, wow, what path that this young woman chose, and in desperate need of spirit and their help and their guidance. And through the affirmation, or the building and understanding and the truth of her journey, gave her ease. It won't take away all of her journey. That's going to be part of what she kind of walks with, but it gives understanding, and with understanding, sometimes, oftentimes, spirit has that opportunity to come in and help more. And that's my lighted hope for today's episode and you. Maybe not today, maybe today's a great day, but maybe in the future when you're um, feeling those challenges very deeply, maybe you'll want to come back and just listen to this episode again and define and build your own affirmations, um, or edit and modify the ones that I will give you. So before we get to the affirmations, I want to just talk about path. I want to talk about um, what path is. And today, the challenges that we're identifying and creating affirmations, that is to help us to be efficient and have a successful lifetime. I know I'm sounding very objective, but that is our soul's journey. Our soul's journey, our soul's choice to incarnate. Um, other words that might speak to you is journey, blueprint, Akashic records, all those aspects of why we're here, and we chose to be here. We chose to incarnate. I'm talking with that choice. You're listening and you chose that. Your spirit chose that. And if you need some refreshers, episodes, I think it was 15. I know it is 15 and 16. You can kind of go back and see what resonates with you. And we chose that. And we have the most divine and blessed gift of free will. So I need to remind you of that as well. That free will aspect in our journey is sometimes the lifeline. It is sometimes that lifesaver, so we do not metaphorically drown, right? Or if we fall below the surface, we find our way back up. And that's in a metaphorical way. And perfecting our souls is our journey, our journey for entire lifetime. So this one moment in time, or this 1 month in time, or 1 year in time, is not our lifetime. It does not define our lifetime. It our lifetime is a summary of the life of this one chosen incarnation. So be kind and understanding of that. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's not this one moment in time, but affirmations, and I'm hoping that this episode brings more light into your day, even if it's just for a minute. I say you got the minute. So stay with me, open your heart, and just sit in your comfy chair or driving your car or wherever you are, and just see what resonates with you. Because our journeys can be very difficult. And I use another an analogy. I call it like the whack-a-mole, right? And I know I'm dating myself, but those games that you put your head up and you get whacked, right, to put it back down. That sometimes feels like our journey. I just get above the surface of the water and now I'm drowning again. And that sometimes we just need to acknowledge that too. And that is purposeful in walking forward. And sometimes we have to be working towards an efficiency. What we want to resist is complete and utter despair. And I mean that for a lifetime, not just for a day, a month. I always say, have your pity party. You're so entitled to it, especially for some of us, and especially the share I'll talk about later, the human pity party. Uh, She now has come to understand that it was her path and her choice. But that's not always easy to take all day, every day, because you say, why would I ever choose this? I'm in so much pain with this. And sometimes it is our choice, and sometimes the free will of others gives us more than we anticipated. But we come to this Earth's journey with that contingency plan. We know we have to keep dodging those whack-a-mole handles, right? We have to keep moving forward, working to find gratitude, working towards helping me find that life preserver. And that's what the affirmations can be for you, right? That's the spiritual therapy that I coin. It can be that. No rules, no have tos, just an offering to take if it speaks to you, because we want to rid ourselves of deep darkness, and understand that. And I need to also remind your hearts that we're on unique paths. No two spirits are alike for an abundant of reasons. So we're in our own lanes. And so the connections with spirit are connections with our higher self, our loved ones, our guides, our divine, our angels, whatever light. I use a collective word of universe or light beings. It's unique. So how I need to respond and need to connect is my journey as well. Just keeping yourself open, though. I will say, if you could open your heart and you would see life preservers being thrown from you in every direction. I know I'm being kind of giddish, but I truly mean that in terms of light. They are constantly watching and holding us. They know the difficulty of this journey, and they want us not to have a moment more than what we've chosen on for our blueprint or our path. So know that in your heart. It doesn't make the journey easier sometimes, but sometimes when we can get a breath of air, sometimes that does sing in our soul. It does speak, and that is where you can birth an affirmation that will speak to you. No one will be able to write one for you unless you choose to take that. It has to be what calls to your heart. So what is an affirmation? If you're not aware of that, and it's just a word, it is just a word, but it just puts us in a place where I can explore what speaks to me in my unique connection and my unique spiritual journey. Affirmations are positive statements that help you deal with negative feelings. And sometimes I also work to affirmations don't have to always support negative feelings. You'll see when I talk about building an affirmation, sometimes it's just spreading the love. It has no negative. It's spreading the love. But generally, when we're looking at affirmations, we need help. And that is really kind of where I key point for this episode is that help that sometimes we need. Repeating the same sentences or mantras, whatever word or phrases that speak to your higher light can be a great ally. It can be that therapy that comes spiritually. And that can really speak to a deep, deep sense of yourself and loving and accepting of yourself. And those are the pieces that we'll talk about a little bit today. And so I have to remind you as well that our higher self in the universe, again, always want to help us. They don't want us to have more than what we've chosen. And that is a universal rule and law. We just have to be open to ask for help and be open to follow guidance or love or feeling the love. And that doesn't mean that they don't send it and you don't feel it. You have to be open to it, or just even the knowledge of I trust that it comes. I just can't feel it. I'm not in a place, and that is truth. I always say we can't change what we don't acknowledge, and so it's okay to do that as well. To say I'm sure someone's sending me some help, but I'm not feeling it, because I will always remind you too that our hearts have all our knowledge, have all our truths, but this journey and the earthly emotions that exist in this journey cover it. Sometimes with mud or cement or whatever material, and then it becomes very hard to seek it out and feel it. But it's okay to acknowledge that you cannot feel it right now. But that's acknowledgement to break apart it as well. And through maybe the episode that we're talking about today, or this is your base to build that deeper foundation of your light. So be open and kind to yourself. Allow your walk to unfold as it does. Don't look to others. Don't feel pressure. Just open and just keep walking towards the light, or knowing that you're walking towards the light, even if you can't feel it. And so when I talk about our journey, I need to remind you that we talk telepathically, spirit, whether it's our higher self. So that means thought to thought. And that's really important to kind of note for today, because that is how your affirmations may come to you. You might come thought to thought, but you want to use your human voice. And I encourage that. If you want to use your human voice because you need to be heard or you need that inflection, I say do it. But thought to thought is also just as effective if that's what feels light and right for you. So again, no rules, and trust that when you tell your spirit to do, it does. You have to trust that, even if maybe you sit there and you go, I don't feel it. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. Even if you just in your heart say, but I do breathe in that trust. And I am open to have that seen for me. So I ask for that. There are no rules in spirituality. There's no have tos. And that is, I'm getting on my super duper spirit soapbox here. When you have rules, you have ego. When you have rules, you have missteps, you have heavy, you have earthly emotions. There's no rules in this journey with our spirituality, with our path, with our journey. No have tos. Remember, we're on our unique paths. We are in our own lanes. Give yourself that ease, especially if that's all you can do right now. I'm not going to give myself a rule. Maybe that becomes an affirmation that speaks to you, that reminds your heart, and that gives you ease in some way. And also on that note is release what you can't control, what doesn't serve you. Many times we take on others' energy, others' problems, and that just lightens our journey. It heavies us. It maybe puts another layer of mud or another layer of concrete around our heart because I am holding that too. I need you to be open to say, I have to release it. It does not serve me. That doesn't mean you stop loving. That doesn't mean that you are not there if people need you. It just means that you have your journey, I have mine. And truly, very often, they're in their lane, on their journey. We're not to enter into their path or enter into their lane. They are responsible for theirs, and we have to reserve judgment on that too. And that is a very, very big spiritually aha moment, is no judgment. Judgment is ego. Judgment is our humanness. That is something that we need to cut. And energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transfers. So if you send love, if you send healing, if you send support with your thoughts, it finds its way. It finds its way. It is energy. So if that gives you comfort, if in your place of worry, in your place of feeling so heavy with others and in their choices or wherever that is, and I know that this speaks to many, it speaks to many of us. I see that so often in my life and in my work. You have to release that. You have to in sending that love in response to cutting or in addition to cutting is a beautiful marriage. I send you love, I send you healing, and I'm choosing to cut those cords. That doesn't mean you're cutting them out of your life. You're just cutting those energy cords that just trap you and bring you down heavily. That is a beautiful gift you can give yourself. And if you choose to enter those words or those thoughts into an affirmation when we start to build that, then keep open to that. Keep open to that. I will also say that so often in sessions, people are moved to tears. And then they try and hide them. I'm so sorry. I can't believe. And I always say, embrace them. Please do not hide them. They are diamonds to our soul. They are pure love because they are our higher self reminding us that this is something that is either truth and or healing, but it's forward movement when it comes in that context, right? When it comes in that context, there's something for you to grow with and not feel embarrassed or feel shameful, right? Those are human emotions. They are not ever going to serve us. And sometimes we just need to release that. I'm releasing my shame. I'm releasing my guilt. I'm releasing that. It does not serve me. That could be a beautiful way of giving yourself love. Those are affirmations. It doesn't have to be a long prayer. It doesn't have to be many sentences. It can be just a word or two. It is whatever speaks to your soul. And I always say, too, if you have questions, spiritual questions, or you need spiritual answers, it's all in your heart. You just have to clear away all that junk first. So you clear all that earth's chatter, all that earth's noise, all those earthly emotions that we just spoke about. Ask to receive or ask your question. And whatever resonates back, how it gets answered, how you resonate with the answer, whether you feel it, see it, hear it, know it, wherever however it comes back, just ask yourself, does that feel light to me? Did that response or that feeling, does that feel light to me? And I want you to embrace it because light is always right. It is our spiritual community, whether it's ourselves and again the abundance of our help on the other side, giving us a nudge that yes, you are onto something. It is not your human thinking that gives you this. Light is always right because our human thinking can never give us that feel of lightness. And I can't define that for everyone. It is our unique connection, and especially our unique connection to unique situations, to unique times in our lives. But I will say, I have not spoken to one person that doesn't understand what light feels to them when they get there. And when you do get there, trust it, embrace it, just for the moment, just for the being. Don't look ahead, because sometimes when we look ahead, our minds and our brains seem to formulate, try to find understanding of why the message came. That is not spirit if you're thinking. If you're thinking, you're in your three-dimensional brain. So be mindful of that. So clear, asked to receive, or be open to receive, and whatever resonates light with you, trust it. Trust it. No next steps have to be happened. Just know that that felt light to me, and sit with that. And sit with that. I'm going to be right back in just a few seconds, and we're going to start talking about how to build affirmations. So, as we continue our walk today, I want you to open to how the scenarios I'm going to place. I'm going to talk to you, and we've already talked about quite a bit just in that share of conversation we've had already. But I'm going to get a little bit more technical, I suppose, and how these may hold true in your journey. And I'm going to also ask you to remember if there is a need, either of a heavy emotion, because we spoke about this too. When we're doing affirmations, sometimes they're a response to need, right? And that's mainly what today's episode's about. I need some help. I need some help. I'm falling. And again, the share will dictate that as well. But sometimes we just want to give light. So be mindful that affirmations can be either. The light ones we don't generally have to work at too hardly, because our heart sings the light ones. If we're moving into light affirmations, then our heart really already has that kind of built in. It's when our light is kind of having a difficulty in shining, that's generally where we need more opening to reach for what will speak to me, what will help me at that very moment in time. So let's talk about building affirmations. And again, I just do two simple steps to kind of keep in mind. First one is define the area that you need an affirmation. And I use that word need because a need is a lighted word. Want can easily fall in. Remember, no rules. But I always say, Spirit always gives you what you need, not necessarily what you want, but sometimes it's both. So I do purposefully use the word need more than want, but use them however that speaks to you. And so we're going to create some words and actions that will talk to you, will nudge you. And I do tell you, as I always do remind you, keep your heart open, because even my words, that words might not speak to you, but what you receive, what kind of shoots in at a time, that's something to lean into. That is something, because when your heart's open, Spirit does its best giving you what you need. And if you're listening, which you are, to this episode, listen to also what comes in. They might give you other thoughts, other strategies, other memories. So be open to that. Okay. Step one, define where you need that help. Where does it currently feel heavy? We're going to talk about the heavier part first. So do you have fear? Do you have fear in maybe next steps? Making the wrong decision, fearing retribution, feeling guilt, maybe ending a relationship, starting a new job, something happened in your workplace, and you're trying to you're feeling very guilty about that, or wondering what I should do in the next steps, but having that fear. Right? So those are identifying areas of need. Sometimes it's just a one and done. Right? I'm okay. Yeah, I finished that. But sometimes they stay. Sometimes that karmic draw makes things magnetized, right? If I'm a person that doesn't speak my truths because I don't feel like I can, if that's a karmic piece, then someone feeling guilty about an action, maybe at work, doesn't have that need for an affirmation. They'll go in and they'll say, "Okay, I'm sorry," or maybe I always say, don't feel sorry, don't feel guilty if it's not something that you didn't do intentionally. Understand that if you did not do it intentionally, that guilt is, bat that to the universe. Put that bat strong in your arm and just kick it through. But I also know that our human journey is hard. So also, if that is just perpetuating and it just keeps circling, then you need to do something with it. And again, some of us would just say, "Okay, I'm good with that. I'm going to say hi to that person or that action that happened, and it'll be good." Some will carry it and carry it and carry it and carry it. And that's not with judgment. It's just with understanding how karma and our journey intertwine. So define your area of need. Do you need an affirmation in there? Are you feeling so heavy that it's just really pushing you down? Another area maybe is you need some protection. Forming an affirmation for protection. Maybe you're sensing danger, impending danger. Maybe you don't like to travel alone. Maybe you're going to be around someone that doesn't mesh with your energy. There's all different reasons. Need for protection it could be an area that you'd like to build an affirmation for, or an affirmation. Again, that's a big word. It could be just a word. It could be just 2 words. Don't get too caught up in the rules of have to. It has to be 7 words. It has to be 3 sentences. No, whatever speaks to you, that gives your spirit the comfort and ease it deserves. And sometimes I just decide on that piece, but energy from others. So maybe the unrest in the world, right? There's lots going on in this world in many different capacities. Again, some people just move about their day, and some people hold that in that heaviness and can't seem to crawl out of that. Identifying that, again, identifying that's really important to each person. And if it's feeling heavy and you're not able to move it away, maybe finding a phrase that speaks to your heart is a place for you to let that go, or come to acknowledgement with it in some way, and that maybe just be enough to let it move where it shall move. Unhealthy energies and boundaries, we kind of talk about that, and I'm reminding you to cut what doesn't serve you, right? Protect your energy, protect your boundaries, stay in your lane. That is not a disservice to others. It is a service and a need for you. And remember, you are your most important person. Always. Your light is most important. And so I'm going to move to the refreshing or the lighter piece. And remember, when I'm talking about that, there's no spite, there's no anger, there's no defensiveness in these pieces. It is truly through an open heart sending love or wisdom or light to yourself or others. And when I say no spite, let me just give you a quick example. If someone has done you wrong in your human life, hurt you in some way, um, find whatever speaks in your heart. I won't use the word forgiveness because that's your journey. That is yours. But instead of feeling the spite, send them love. It eases. It can ease your journey, and it feels so much better in your spirit and in your ways to send love. It's just through thought. You don't have to use your human words because that enters a whole different, sometimes a platform. So just send your thoughts, and what that does is says, instead of holding the angst and the ick, I'm sending love. But as I always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and even in your spirit, right? Oh, I send Rick yep, I send him love. I hope he finds what he's looking for. Mm. Or I send Rick love and I hope he finds what he's looking for, right? And it is in what your heart feels. So if you are sending refreshing and light, you have to rid all that earthly emotions. Here are some examples for yourself. Help me make lighted decisions. Help me find my light. Keep reminding me to be mindful of all the good that's in my life instead of what is not. I use this one quite often too. I ask for thoughts during the day that if I'm in a tough spot or I'm just feeling off in a deeper way, I'll say, please give me thoughts of the good pieces in my life. And thoughts do come in and I say, thank you. Thank you. I need that because our human selves are focused and laser focused at times, right? To just clue in on the ick, clue in on the yuck, which we all have. And instead I say, I want I want my vision to be the good pieces. That ick, if I focus on it too much, it will magnify, it will grow, and I don't want to. I want my good feelings and my blessings and the things that speak to me to grow. So I want to choose that. And maybe you want to build an affirmation on that. Maybe and sometimes you want to maybe just write down words that come. Don't worry about the editing, right? It's validations and validations of messages. Please send me light and guidance in my dreams. I'll just quickly talk about dreams. Is our dreams are a place where the earth's chatter has been silenced because we would not be in sleep if it wasn't. But I have to also be mindful that at times we are awake even in our dreams. So if we have any consciousness, any brain consciousness, then we also have a chance of ego coming in. And I will start. I have a whole curriculum on dreams, so I'm going to start moving towards some different dream aspects in my future podcast. So stay tuned. But again, they help us. Our dreams are purposeful because we create them. We are the author of our dreams. And so they give us guidance. So be open to that and ask before you go to bed or during the day, help me receive the guidance I need in my dreams. And be open to the interpretation. Dreams are not meant to scare you. They are not. That's our humanness kicking that in. I'm just going to put a quick check mark to that and just let you sit with that digestion. Open your heart. You have all the same answers. Okay, so now we're going to move to step 2, and this is just a quick piece. Is now we're going to build an affirmation. I now understand the need maybe of affirmations or good loving thoughts. You don't have to carry the word affirmations. You like mantras or phrases or words or whatever speaks to you. Now I understand how they can help me. So now I want to build one when I see the need for it. So just a couple of simple steps I kind of just send as reminders. I always say include the word I or me because it is about me. It isn't about you. It's about me, right? The affirmation is what I need or the word me. And I always encourage be purposeful on the verb that you choose. And I know in my spiritual experience that a strong verb is very meaningful to me. A strong verb, a verb is a word of action. And so that strong verb very much defines what needs to have action or needs to happen or what I'm looking for as my movement. So I do move to very purposeful verbs. So I do send that to you to interpret as you choose in your open heart. And also in that open heart, when you have that open, remember, anything of spirit, you have to clear that earth chatter first. It has to be silenced because that ego, that earth emotion will infiltrate and deny you your lighted journey. It will muddy the waters. So always be open with your heart, and allow the words to flow that deal with your negative feelings, or a help that you need. Let your words be let out. Let your words speak to you. That is so very important. I am going to give you some that I use professionally and personally. I always say, feel free to edit, modify, rewrite. Um, Take any have do's out of there. I call these starter frames. I am a retired teacher, so I always say it's nice to have a starting piece to kind of move towards, or edit as I see fit. So these are just some choices of some starter frames of how you can build your affirmations. So with the understanding that you need protection, or that is your need, here is an affirmation that I use. I protect myself with the white light of God's divine love and protection. So that's an affirmation I do. I also include it with a twirling white and gold vortex around my body, around my spirit. So that's one of protection. I can use that for my energy and boundaries. Here's another one. I am worthy of love, but do not accept energies that do not serve my highest good. So that might be something that when you know you're going into a place where there's unhealthy boundaries or unhealthy energies, or you sense that, or even when you feel it in the moment, you can send that affirmation to yourself. Because remember, what you tell your spirit to do in light and love, it always does. Don't fear that it doesn't, because then your heart is not speaking. Trust it above all else. If your need is validation, a starter I do, enlighten love of my highest best good, dot, 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 dot. Give me signs that give me signs of the things that I'm grateful for versus the things that do not serve me. Again, the words have to be yours. They have to clue into you. You're welcome to my words. You're welcome to anything that I say, but make sure that you claim it with your heart, that it speaks to your heart. And if your need is gratitude, I am thankful for dot, 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 dot. Right? If your need is about dreams, please allow me to awaken and acknowledge when dot, 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 or if dot, 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 dot. Right? Give me guidance through my dreams. Send love in my dreams. Whatever speaks to you, trust that it will happen. It will. It does. And if you don't believe that with your heart, then it is difficult for you to feel the light of those words in your heart. So there's some days you can't. Some days you're just beyond that, and that's okay. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to move to my share, and I'm going to share a person who came in the brink of despair, and the affirmation that was sent to her, and that the acknowledgement of her truth, she left feeling ease. And so I'm just going to take a short break, and I'm going to come back with that share. Hi. I want to talk about Sarah. And I use that as a generic name. That's not her name. Sarah entered into a session, and she came in and she felt warm and kind-hearted. I feel like she was in her mid-30s possibly. And when she sat, and I explained how my sessions work, and I said, "What speaks to you?" And her shoulders just went completely down, and she says, "I am broken. I am in complete desperation. I need Spirit's help very badly." And so through the session, she talked about her journey and how it had become overwhelming. and that she longed and needed that guidance to help her out of despair. And a person directed her to me, and she felt compelled that this light could come through that she needed so deeply. Again, she was in desperate need of Spirit's help. And so Sarah's struggles began at birth. And I want to remind you about path, right? And incarnation, and how birth is the first official step in. And it almost is, I have to use the word almost, because I can never use always and never. Those fit in very small areas in either realm of existence. That is our first step into incarnation. So that step is very, very purposeful. It is not, doesn't have a lot of opportunity for others' free will to change it, because where it is right then and there is how it will be. So that is why when we pick our birth parents, that it's very, very distinct and for reasons of purposefulness. And so Sarah's struggles began at birth. And she was given up for adoption at birth. And this is what she told me. In the session, these pieces came along. So she was, some of these were conversations, some are pieces that Spirit kind of channeled through. But I'm gonna give you the main idea of it, because I wanna move to the meat and the affirmations that Spirit brought forward for her. So she was given up for adoption because she was conceived as a result of an assault. Again, think of that path and what Sarah was coming into for a lifetime. She was then placed in a strict, unloving adoptive home alongside other adopted siblings. So she grew up longing for a sense of belonging. She was very connected to one of her adoptive brothers, again, a soul group that was brought through in the reading, and she absolutely understood that. But she was always aware that she had biological siblings. So she eventually sought out her birth mother, hoping for a connection. But when she found her, Sarah met her with rejection. Her mother fully rejected her and rejected the relationship with siblings. And she said she couldn't bear to look at her because she so closely resembled the man that had assaulted her and caused her pain. So despite this heartbreak, Sarah built a life of her own, marrying a wonderful man. Again, another soul connection that came through. And after enduring a very difficult pregnancy, gave birth to a child with significant disabilities. It's her one and only child. And she arrived at that session seeking help. I need help. Again, she was a lovely soul. She was full of warmth, but she was saying, "Why all of this? I can't take this. I feel I'm broken. I, why?" Was a lot of where she was in a loving way. And so through Spirit, understanding her path, understanding that, reminding her heart of the choices that life's big choices, especially in her case, they don't happen. They're not given as a punishment. They are part of our journey, part of the pieces that we chose. And again, Spirit also identified areas that were not part of her free will, that she got a little extra dose based on others' free will. But again, we come in with that. So she was, in her words, exhausted. I'm exhausted. I am tired of this journey. I'm tired. And that is where she laid on these doorsteps. And so Spirit came through, as they always will, holding when their open heart has either asking for help or is open to themselves. And they gave this beautiful affirmation that really spoke to her, and that spoke to her in a deep level. Not only did they give evidence of truth, evidence of choice, and also loving, beautiful pieces of the family that she built, the family that will continue to to build in a unit and to look into that instead of the outside, giving her clarity in those pieces. And also they gave her a beautiful affirmation that I'm going to share with you. It's an affirmation and a technique or a strategy. They gave this beautiful example, and they say it's looking in a mirror, literally. So quiet the noise, open your heart when you're ready, when there's no one around, when you are available and open to move into this experience. Stand in front of a mirror and look at that person in the mirror. Look at that person. Open to that person as if they were your dearest and best friend that you cherished so deeply. And with all that love and admiration you have for that person, your best friend that you're looking at in the mirror, speak the words that they need to hear, that you would offer to them. Breathe in those words and send them with comfort and reassurance and abundance of love and patience in their journey. Speak from your heart as if you're speaking to your best friend. And when she sat with that, I remember her, I felt the ease of her journey. Certainly not all of it. She chose it. It is going to be a lifetime of working on this path. But there was a place of ease, of comfort, of acknowledgement that she is being watched. And as I recall, too, a loved one came through, a mother of a prior lifetime, I think, came through with love. And she felt that love. And she felt it deeply. And Spirit said, come back to that mirror anytime it speaks to you. Develop an affirmation or a conversation wherever you are in that place, and give your spirit that love that it deserves. And again, those words spoke so deeply to her, and her tears, her diamonds flowed, and an ease came upon her face. And she was so thankful to Spirit for that breath of air, breath of acknowledgement, breath of love, all of that. So always know that love is always within reach, even in the most desperate times, as when Sarah came. And when you feel wounded, heavy, or lost, honor those emotions. Call upon Spirit for help and trust that they are holding you before you even finish that thought. When their presence feels distant, when the weight of your human journey makes it difficult to feel their support, embrace an affirmation that speaks love to you. Or take a moment to create one that uplifts and sustains you in this moment of challenge. Open your heart and call upon the words that will offer strength to your challenge. Speak them, whether from memory, written down, or let them flow freely, perhaps even through your tears. Embrace those tears, again, diamonds of the human experience, for they come from a place of truth, light, and healing. They will guide you forward out of the darkness. When you're ready, open your heart and trust, without rules, without expectations, or time frames. Or try looking in the mirror as Sarah was given, and offering that person staring back at you your deepest love and understanding for the difficult place that they are in. Breathe out the words that speak to you in this moment, whether through an affirmation, a mantra, or simply a breath of that acceptance, free from any judgment or pressure. Give yourself love and patience always. This journey will bring challenges and emotions beyond what you can imagine at times, but through it all, your spirit will always remain loving and giving. Trust in your light when times feel dark. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for allowing me to accompany you on your journey today. There's so much for us to explore and learn together. If there's a light-filled topic you're curious about, or if you just want to reach out, I'd love to connect. Follow me on social media at Cheryl Bradley Medium, or visit cherylbradley.com to explore my offerings and events. I hope today's episode has filled you with the light to carry with you until we meet again. And let the title of this podcast stay with you today and every day. If it's light, it's right. Blessings on your journey.